Everybody, Josh Brown here, managing editor with Carmel Magazine, and we're hanging out today with Dr. Michael Beresford at the Carmel Clay Schools facilities, your new digs, your new offices here. For those of you who don't know, obviously, Dr. Beresford was recently voted in as the new superintendent of Carmel Clay Schools. An exciting new opportunity for you. So just jumping in, tell us about this process. What's this look like for you? How does it feel for you to be here now and to be started in a new role?
Really, it's pretty surreal. I've used that word before, but I don't think I've ever felt it until now. But you can see in my office I'm still moving in, and so extremely excited. And I've said over and over again, I'm like this guy on the planet, and I just had some great opportunities. This has been really special. The process that the board used was very thoughtful and at times grueling, but it was a very good process, and I just feel very fortunate to be the one that got picked.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. What drew you to this position? And on the flip side of that, what do you think made you stand out as a candidate to the Carmel Clay Schools and the school board?
Yeah, probably a better question for the school board. But I think probably it was an advantage that coming from just across the river and being a Hamilton County administrator and I've had several years under my belt in a lot of different settings, and it's probably an advantage for me. It's all about fit, and for me it was a dream job, a dream come true, and so it was just pretty amazing. The whole thing was just amazing to me, and but I will say I felt real peaceful about the whole process, and at this stage in a career, I think it's more about, is this the right fit? Am I what they're looking for?
Right.
And I felt pretty good about my body of experience and the things I've been able to do over the last 25 years at Hamilton Southeastern and 35 years of being in education.
Yeah.
And so it was very at peace for me. And when I was chosen, of course, then it got really exciting. But I still feel pretty peaceful about getting on mission here and getting busy.
Yeah, great. Well, 25 years of experience you talked about. Let's talk about that a little bit. At HSE schools, obviously. Talk about those relationships, some of the fond memories you made there and in the Fishers community over the years. How do you feel that body of work and that experience over those 25 years has really prepared you for this role at Carmel today?
Yeah. Well, when I was hired at Hamilton Southeastern Schools as a guidance counselor, I drove out on 126th Street from 37. There was 5 houses. I could count on one hand how many houses there were out. The rest was farm fields.
Right, lots changed.
Oh, absolutely. And there's 824 kids in the high school. And that's 9 through 12. I think that's a lunch period now. But the principal there, Rich Hogue, said that, this is going to be the 3rd, 4th largest district in the state. All these fields are going to be full of houses, and there's going to be unprecedented growth. And I thought, you're nuts. The only thing going on here is you've got the best FFA in the state probably, and everything that guy said came true.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where you can replicate that kind of growth and working with that kind of growth and building buildings and trying to keep your programming strong and doing all those things in a really fast growing, fast moving setting. But that was happening across the river in Carmel, Indiana as well. So I do think because our communities are similar, that gave me a pretty good preparation, and also Hamilton County is a great place to be an administrator because there's a lot of collaboration, within the school districts, and they're all real good. So I think that's the things I've learned, as far as the nuts and bolts pieces. That's probably a good piece of it. But when you talk about the relationships. The only way schools are successful is when we work together. Together we're stronger, and relationships with students especially, and then parents, and then the staff and the administration. When we all work together and collaborate together, and we're a team locking arms together to do what's best for our kids, that's what makes schools special. And 25 years in one place, I've got a lot of really strong relationships. And
probably hard to say goodbye in a lot of ways.
Real hard to say goodbye, but. Also there's a time to move on, and I really feel good about where Hamilton Southeastern Schools are. The position they're in right now is very strong people in all aspects of my responsibilities, and I'm sure they're going to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so you officially start July 1st. Obviously, you're in the trenches right now, both with some duties you have left with HSE and
Absolutely.
kind of jumping into Carmel Clay Schools here. But
Right.
what are you most excited about with getting started in the school year, just being right around the corner, really?
Mostly I'm excited about meeting the people. And, I've kind of made my mission to do a listening tour because my learning curve is pretty, not quite vertical, but it's,
Right.
it's pretty inclined. Because every school district has its own culture and every community has their own culture. So I'm trying to learn the Carmel way, and I figured the best way to do that is talk to, the folks that live here and that work here, and you've got, a community that loves education. Education is valued in their homes. The kids come to school ready to learn, so that part I'm just excited to see. To meet the players and get the team together and just meet the individuals. So I'm going to be hitting all corners of the Carmel community to try to learn the Carmel way and to get to know the people, and then also to see how it works and see where we are and work together with that team and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously, a lot of decisions and topics for the school system coming up. The elementary buildings come to mind, the programming. But for you, going into this first year as the new superintendent, what are your biggest goals as you enter this first year?
My biggest goal is to form good, strong relationships with all aspects of the school community. That's always going to be, an important piece, and maybe the most important piece. And then secondly, we're going to look at what the programming is and kind of where the leaders in programming are and where they want to get to, and try to, get our planning set. So to me, it's kind of a baseline year to see where we are, and then see where do we want to go from there, and work with the board and the administrative team and the teaching team and the students. The student voice is very important.
Right.
I'm going to do my very best to see what their experience is like and work it all together to do something positive for the kids here.
Yeah, and I imagine you're hearing a lot of feedback too, probably from the community as far as elementary buildings and new things go as well.
Yeah, those are difficult topics, and it'd be irresponsible of me to talk about something I don't know all
Right.
detail of. But it's those types of decisions are very, very difficult for the board, for the community, and the administration as well. And it looks like that may be decided before I get on board as far as the school building projects go. But whatever the situation I land in on July the 2nd, I'll be ready to get into the mix and see what needs to be done.
Sure. Well, obviously a big topic, the events last month with the shooting at Noblesville West Middle School really rocked all of Hamilton County and all neighboring schools in the community in a big way. It's a hot button topic throughout the U.S. What are some of the conversations, plans, steps you hope to take this year as it pertains to school safety?
Well, first I'd say school safety is an everyday event. It's not it's not a situation where we're going to go, we're going to try to bring some new program or some, in Hamilton County, the fences are down when it comes to school safety. We all work together. We're always looking and say, what are you doing? What are you hearing? And really, anytime there's a school tragedy or a shooting, like when Parkland occurred, we had already started the process of evaluating that situation, and is there anything, what can we learn from there? And then, of course, when your neighbors have a shooting, like in Noblesville, and while all school shootings shake educators and parents and communities to the bone, and when it's right next door, it's even more devastating. But again, it'll be the same situation where we'll evaluate what happened and see what can we do, every day. What can we do every day to keep our schools safe? So, and again, I'm kind of going back to the same thing. We'll be evaluating our programming. I already met with the head school resource officer, DJ Schaff, and working with PD to see what our current state is and if there's anything fundamental we need to get done before school starts. And then also we'll be engaging the community probably before summer's over to have a meeting to talk a little bit about school safety maybe give the public a little look behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And obviously, we have layers and layers and layers of school safety, and you have to have a multi-layered approach to do it right.
Right.
But we can share some things without giving away, compromising our security. And so we're planning on doing something maybe right before school starts to get the community, give the community some ideas about what we do, and then also to get from the community, their ideas. I've been in several parent and community forums on school safety, and we always get something really valuable out of it.
Right.
And then finally, the thing we want to make sure, most importantly, is that we have good communication pathways for our students to communicate with us. Because I always say students are the eyes and the ears of a school, and they know things that we don't know and will never know. So we have to have a way for them to communicate with us, and we can communicate back with them, even confidentially, so that any concerns they have, we can know about them immediately and run them down quickly to make sure that we're not missing anything, that no stone's unturned, I guess.
Sure.
So like I said, it's an everyday commitment, and has been my whole career, and will continue to be so.
Yeah. And the open forum thing is really interesting. I know HSE schools recently did one, and it seemed like it was really beneficial for the community and the parents and people to kind of chime in and talk about that topic.
Yeah, I think you're seeing those pop up all over because, and usually we've been pretty tight-lipped about our safety and security, but I think it's time to give a little bit of a glimpse behind the curtain and get some communication lines going that way too. I would imagine, possibly Kevin and some kind of advisory group coming out of that. Sure. When DJ and I were talking yesterday, we talked about maybe getting some parents involved in a deeper level and see what we can do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know, last year a big initiative you kind of oversaw with HSE schools was providing student support with licensed mental health therapists, hired a mental health coordinator. How important is that topic to you when it comes to mental health, and could we see similar initiatives in the future here at Carmel Clay Schools?
Well, you're touching on something I'm pretty passionate about.
Sure.
And, really that whole thing sprang out years ago over just watching trending data, where we had more and more students that were expressing suicide ideation or suicidal threats of some kind or another. And actually the numbers were increasing, and the ages of the students that were doing it was becoming younger. And we knew we had to do something because it was important. And actually, we started out with no funding at all. We were not in a good position financially, but we're doing as many things as we could at low cost or no cost, and getting some help. But then we did a school referendum, and one of the topics on that referendum was mental health supports, and it was a pretty good, $500,000 or so. And all the meetings we went to about that referendum, not one person questioned that cost. So I think the community was behind it 100%. And there's just so many advantages to having a school-based mental health program. As far as just parents having to leave work to go to get their student and take them to get help, and then come back and missing work. Where in school-based, they're right there. And actually sometimes the stress and anxiety kids go through is a lot of it's at school. So to get help at school, where that is, I think, is a lot more effective as well. So it is something I'm passionate about. I know Carmel Clay Schools has social workers in their schools, and have some programming that way. So I'll be all over that, trying to see what the supports we have in place for our kids, and really working proactively to not just of course, we want to put supports around the kids that have mental health needs, but also we want to put into place, education on how to deal with stress and how to deal with anxiety, and what are some positive things you can do to maybe get ahead of it. That's going to be a topic where, it's not just in Carmel or in Hamilton Southeastern. It's our kids are stressed out these days, and we got to do something with that and give them the help they need. And probably the last thing I'll say about it is we also have to kind of get over the stigma that mental health is different from physical health. Or,
right.
If you break your leg, you're going to go to a doctor and get help, and for some reason that's fine. But if you're suffering from depression or anxiety, we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
We got to get over that in a hurry, because we don't want any student, really anybody in the community, to be suffering in silence. we wanted people to reach out for the help they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've kind of hit the serious topics. I mean, tell us a little more about you, about your family, your hobbies. I mean, what are your other passions that you have?
I'm a dad. That's one of my number one jobs. Probably is my number one job. That and husband's probably
Yeah.
One side or the other. But I've been married for 29 years, and to just I don't know. Probably the only questionable decision my wife made was to marry me. But, she's a wonderful person and best friend, and we've had three wonderful kids. Now, I will qualify that we are two imperfect parents with three imperfect kids, but we think they're great. Love them more than anything else in the world. Got a daughter who's my children are grown. She's working as a first responder in Augusta, Georgia, and then my middle son's finishing up a journalism degree at Ball State. And my youngest is in architecture. And he'll be a junior at Ball State. So
empty nesters.
Yeah, we're empty nesters, but occasionally they come and wreck the house.
Of course.
And they go back. But that's my other life is my family, and it's a great life. And so that's part of it. My wife and I were kind of hikers and bikers, and so we like to get out and hit the parks and hit the trails. And she's in better shape than I am, but I hope to catch up at some point in time. I like music a lot. Play a little guitar. That's a hidden fact. I guess not hidden anymore.
Go to a lot of concerts at Klipsch or Ruoff now, I guess.
Yeah, I got to keep the names. I I go back to Deer Creek.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah, we catch some shows, and my middle son's actually a musician, so
okay.
He's a real musician, so we do that a little bit too. But mostly I'm a school guy. Been a school guy for a long time, and kind of do the school thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up, I mean, is there anything else you'd like to add? Maybe a message you'd like to give parents and students as you kind of jump into this role this year?
Just that, my team and I, we're going to do everything we can do, to make sure your kids have just a world-class, outstanding, inspirational experience at school. And I look forward to teaming up with parents in the community. One thing that is kind of a hallmark, I think, is that the community is together because we all want our kids to have, the best experience they can have and to be in a position to have a wonderful future. And if we team up that way and work together, it's going to be magic and great things are going to happen. And it's already happening here, and I just hope to fan that flame and keep it going.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, everybody. Thanks, Dr. Beresford, for taking some time today to join us. Be on the lookout for this story soon as school comes back in August, right around the corner, a couple months. And thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Josh, and appreciate you coming by.
Thanks.